Hey,
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
You're a Christian, aren't you, Grace?
I sure am.
But you're normal.
Do you really know me?
Maybe not. First things first. Why do you waste all of this time going to church and praying when you don't actually know that God is real?
Going in the deep end, I love church. I love hanging out with my friends at church. I love community and I love talking to God. I don't see it as a waste of time. I actually see it as a real active part of my daily life, actually. I love it. Why wouldn't you? Come to church with me and then you'll see.
It's great. So, what about dinosaurs?
What about dinosaurs? Well, do you know what? A few years ago, I went on a holiday down to Dorset with my parents and we actually went fossil hunting. So to be honest, I think there were dinosaurs. Yeah, so what do you think? Do you reckon there are?
I don't know.
Sure?
Not sure. So I've walked past a lot of Christians, you know, like at the train station or, I don't know, in the shopping centre. And they hand out booklets that say you're going to hell. Why do they do that?
Oh, good question. I've heard this one before. Do you know what? I don't know. I'd ask the same question. Why do they do that? I don't think it's helpful. I don't really think it shows the heart of God. Hey, it may have worked at one particular time, but I definitely don't think it probably is the best route to go if you're introducing someone to Jesus.
Okay. Do you think church is boring?
No, I love church. Church for me isn't just going to a building every week like you might think, sitting down and getting a number and listening to some songs and someone giving a talk. Church is so much more than that. Church is community for me, and some of my best friends I've made from going to church, and we hang out in community, we eat together, we go on holiday together, we go to the cinema together, we just share life with each other, and that's what church is. So no, church is far from boring.
Grace, how did you become a Christian?
I became a Christian when I was 8 years old. I've grown up in a Christian home, but I remember being invited to my local church, and there was an event on there for kids and young people, and somebody got up and taught about a God who loved me so much that he sent his one and only son, and it just stuck with me and I wanted to go and find out more. And then that night I went home, asked my mum lots of questions like you've just been asking me, and I remember just in my bedroom at home she led me through a really simple prayer and I asked Jesus into my heart.
Amazing.
That's how it happened.
Let's head inside.
Okay.
Hi guys, it's Emma. I am back on the We Are Tearfund channel, and today I am joined by the lovely Grace from Youth for Christ. What is Youth for Christ?
Youth for Christ is an incredible organisation. We work right across the world, in fact, but I work for British Youth for Christ, and we work with 250,000 young people a month right across the UK with all of our centres. We have 65 plus centres. We work in prisons, in schools. We just love young people and we want them to come to know Jesus.
Amazing. So I just asked you a load of random questions.
Yeah, thanks for that.
That some of you watching may actually know a bit about, because you've probably been asked these questions before. Maybe you've tried to tell a friend about Jesus, or someone has somehow found out that you go to church on a Sunday, and then you've been bombarded with these funny questions that you don't really know the answer to. But that was just a bit of fun to see how Grace would respond when she's put in a situation like that. Yeah. Because you do a lot of like outreach and evangelism stuff, don't you? So we wanted to kind of ask you today just for some tips and advice on inviting our friends to church or telling our friends about our faith.
Great.
So what would you say is kind of the best way to tell a friend about your faith? What would you do?
I think so often when we think about evangelism, we think about success or failure, and we think that if we ask a question and the response might be quite negative, that somehow we failed. But actually, I would say the very opposite. I think it's really good to engage your friends with what you're doing in your life, and if your faith is a central part of your life, then it's going to be an overflow out of the choices that you make, out of the things that you say, and the way that you live your life. And so often, if you are living your life for Jesus, that will encourage questions. And so if your friends are asking you questions and wanting to know a little bit more about what you get up to at church on the weekends, or why you go to a Friday night youth group, or why you have made certain decisions in your life to live certain ways and make certain choices. And so I think questions are great, firstly, and never shy away from them. But I also think it's great when we ask our friends questions and we encourage them and invite them into our journey, into our world, into our story. And so often we can do that by saying, listen, if you've got some questions about faith, why don't you come along to church? Church is for everyone. Why don't you come along on Friday night and just hang out and see what it's like? I remember asking one of my friends when I was younger, because she had lots of questions around faith, and the first few times she just said, no, I'm not going to church, no way. And then as conversations after conversations started to happen, and after I kept asking her every now and again if she wanted to come, she eventually came round and said, do you know what, actually, yeah, I think I'm ready to come. And I remember leaving that night after church with her, walking to the bus stop, and I said to her, why now? And she said these words: Grace, I really trust you, and I trusted you that you would take me into a safe place. And so actually sometimes it is a little bit more of a journey than we might think. And so for that particular friend of mine, it took actually quite a long time for her to kind of come round to feeling comfortable enough to come to church. So actually don't be put off if your friends, even for the first few times, say no if you're inviting them to something. Just be bold and be sensitive when to ask, when to not, when to maybe push that conversation in that direction, and maybe when to leave it. I definitely think it's about journey.
Yeah, and I love what you said about how it's like a part of your life, like your faith is who you are. It's not just something that you go to. And I heard a quote once, I can't remember who it's by, but it says, at all times share the gospel, and if necessary use words.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so
I don't know who says it. I don't know. Okay. Tell us if you know.
Comment if you know who said that quote. I'm not going to say it again because I can't remember it.
It's a good quote.
It is, yeah. But I guess it's about, like letting our life be the gospel, letting our life be the example, rather than feeling like we've got to know everything, we've got to know the whole Bible, and we've got to share this like message really clearly and concisely because we only have one opportunity.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, that's not true at all, is it?
100%.
What would you say to anyone who's maybe they want to do it, they want to be able to tell people about their faith, but they're just a little bit scared or kind of feel a bit daunted to do it?
Yeah. I would say firstly that actually I understand what that feels like, and I would be seen as somebody probably who's quite confident, like to have a laugh, maybe a bit of a natural leader like you were talking about, but yet even I find it difficult sometimes to share my faith. Even I've bottled it on occasions. And so I just firstly would say to you, we're all in the same boat. And failure isn't fatal, and so when sometimes we don't step out, and sometimes when we bottle it, or fear feels like it gets in the way, I feel like actually we can all relate to that, and I think God understands what we feel. And also the biggest thing for me is that I just began to pray for some of my friends that didn't yet know Jesus, and as I began to pray for them, my love for them just deepened, and I had this real sense that I wanted them to come to know Jesus. And so as well, that was something that really spurred me then on to actually want to share Jesus with them, because it's the best news in the world, and we don't want to keep it hidden.
And with Youth for Christ, you have a channel called Sing.
Yeah.
Shall
I tell you a bit about it?
Yes, go for it.
So basically, we have got 10 videos that you guys can watch, and we cover 4 main areas of your story, the power of your story, the power of your testimony, and how God wants to use it. The power of God's story, the gospel. How do we actually share what the gospel is? If one of our friends was to ask us, So what did Jesus do on the cross? Why did he die on the cross? What does it actually mean to be a Christian? We start to explore how then we answer those questions.
Yeah.
And then also we look at how you can connect God's story and your story to those of your friends, their story, how you can find connection points between all three. And then the fourth thing we look at in detail is the power of prayer. But we ask you guys to start to pray for 3 people in your lives that you want to come to know to see Jesus. Every day we ask you to commit to that. And then all of the other videos are quite fun. We have a pie in your face with me and my husband. It's quite funny. Get to know him a little bit more. We have also an eat it or wear it competition. I'm eating it all. I think I have to eat like an ox's kidney.
Oh.
It's a bit grim, but it's really funny. And we have a couple of others that are just funny, where you can get to know me a little bit better. If you are interested, if you type into the YouTube search bar Sync Coach, SYNC Coach, you'll come up with these 10 videos. Or you can go onto our website at ysc.co.uk/sync, and it's all free. So basically it's just about how you can help share your faith and put God on display in your everyday. That's our tagline.
That's so good. We'll make sure we put all of the links below as well. So just check in the caption box and everything will be there. But thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you, Emma.
Hopefully we'll just be able to go and tell all our friends about Jesus now. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We hope you have a great day.
Thanks, bye.